Hi, it's Kamon Reynolds. So I want to talk to you about two things. First, and a little update on the colony over there on the far right. It is just a second treatment. And look at all these mites right here. This is oxalic acid vapor only. That colony washed in 94. And given the bee population, I'm going to estimate, which I'm pretty confident in this ballpark, of 8,000 to 10,000 mites in that colony. So this is just a second round. We're going to be going 5 rounds, and then we're going to do an alcohol wash to see how effective this was. Obviously, this thing is killing mites, so that's always good to know. And oxalic acid vapor, once you get a tool either like this one of the pan vaporizers, the crystals are very inexpensive, and they're very good. They're very clean on the colony. Honey has natural oxalic acid in it. We actually eat it in a lot of our foods, so of course, you're not supposed to use it with the honey supers on, but I really like having one of these available, especially in wintertime when your bees go broodless and the mites are completely exposed. You wait for a day where the cluster is pretty loose, and then you hit them with a couple grams of this oxalic acid vapor. And again, you don't have to use this nice model here, but for someone like me who's got hundreds of colonies, I got to save all the time that I can, And actually, I make Laurel do it, so she, I try to make her happy. I don't make her do all of it. Anyways, what I also really want to talk about, and this is maybe even more important, is timing your treatments. We've got a great opportunity over here, and let's just go look at it real quick. Set this down. Alright, so we've been making a lot of splits. We just moved about 40 colonies to a new yard, and we made these splits right here, and we got a bunch of other ones in the works. And there are mated queens, and about 3-4 frames of bees, but we're giving them a lot of comb. I don't even know why I brought that over here. I guess I can use it for show and tell. So all these queens have been accepted here. I've got them doubled up on the lids because it's been so stinking hot. We've been getting like 100-degree days, and so it's just giving a little bit more of a buffer for the bees. Now I moved the patty over to the side. We're giving them patty, a little bit of Pro Sweet. We are getting a little bit of pollen coming in, so that's really good, but these young colonies don't have a lot of foragers. Alright, so this right here is just a food frame. We gave them a full frame of honey, and I want to show you so you can understand exactly what I'm getting across. Some of you are already probably guessing at it. Now, when we made these splits, we only used old brood, and then we put the queen in, so as that older brood hatches out, plus we shake bees, and all the original bees, all the older bees I should say, fly back to the original colony. So we're left with bees hatching out, and with only young bees that don't know how to fly, which makes our splits do very, very well at accepting the queens because they're young bees, and they're very, very easy to convince to just accept that new queen and go on from there. Plus they have their whole lives ahead of them. And since you're not giving them any young brood, it doesn't take a lot of work for them to grow, because if you make a small split like this and you're giving a bunch of eggs and young larvae, it takes a lot of work to feed those and raise them all the way up. So we made it as easy as possible on them, but one of the other reasons we do this is because all the brood is in such a tight window, and it takes a couple days for the queen to come out of the cage, and a couple days for her to start laying good, and then it takes several days before her eggs get to the point where they cap them and go into the pupa stage and metamorphosis. There's a window there, and each one of these splits where all the mites are exposed. And since a lot of the mites are in the cap brood, we could be putting a lot of mites into our splits because we're giving them cap brood. So if people are selling you nukes and they're making them up with cap brood, that might be one of the reasons they're able to keep their levels of treatments or treatment-free keeping pretty easily. If you're selling your mites off, that works pretty darn good. But we got a little bit of capped brood left. That's fixing to hatch out. But pretty much everywhere that it's hatched out, there's just eggs and young larvae. And then we've got over here nothing but more eggs and larvae. And that queen has just laid up these 2 frames right here. And I have plenty of time in my season. But right now, besides just a few cells here and there is no place for those varroa mites to go except onto the nurse bees, and they get underneath them, and then they feed on them. So if we hit this colony with an oxalic acid vapor and all of these right at that crucial moment, then we are going to achieve a really high rate of mite kill. And the oxalic acid vapor is very, very gentle on your bees, so that's another big plus there. So just keep that in mind. If you make your splits a certain way, you can create a gap where there's no brood that's capped for a period of time. Now, like I said, there might be a couple cells here and there, but the bulk majority of the mites in this colony are going to be exposed. We hit them with that cheap oxalic acid vapor, and now we have colonies that are very clean and are able to go into our fall and winter very healthy, and will come out of winter very healthy and make a lot of honey. So anyways, all you got to do basically is, just put all this back together. You can hook this thing up to a power outlet if you have one close. Now there's other type of vaporizers out there. I'll leave the link, a link below in the description, all that stuff, if you want to look at these Pro Vaps and stuff like that. And then all you got to do, just close up the colony, smoke the bees in really good, because you don't want them to get too close to this because it gets pretty hot. And you just shoot that jet in there, and you keep them closed up for about 10 minutes. And as the vapor goes from a solid crystal form right into a gaseous form, it actually sublimes really more than vaporizes, because it goes from a solid to a gas right back into a solid, because it doesn't go right back into a big crystal like what we cook in these things, but it goes into a vapor, and then it just creates a really fine layer of micro crystals. Thankfully, it doesn't bother our bees, but those mites, it burns them up, and as you saw on that sticky board over there, it wore them out. So once you get your tool like this, you can you can treat a colony like this and achieve a really high mite kill for 10 or 15 cents. Think about it. Think about making your splits in a way that you can go ahead and get yourself a split and clean them up all at the same time. It's just a natural way to expose your mites and eliminate them. Here in Tennessee, when in doubt, nuke them out. That's our philosophy. Great queens, dead mites, good nutrition, lots of honey. Thanks for watching our videos.